Many, many years ago, there was this really well-known convention. It was well known because of how much of a disaster it was, and with that disaster came this very, very popular image of just this really small ball pit in the middle of this really empty event space. We all saw it, we all had a good laugh, and then we moved on with our lives thinking that nothing could ever possibly beat how bad that convention was. But by golly, someone managed to do it. I of course am talking about the Willy Wonka experience. This thing is well known by this point, just how much of a disaster it was. And I know I heard about it, but digging down deep into it, into the actual details of what happened, it is shocking just how poorly managed the entire thing is. But let's back up to the beginning. Essentially what happened, about a week ago, an event was put forth to the masses, the Willy Wonka experience in Glasgow, which would cost a $40 fee to get in. And the campaigning and the advertising for this experience, it looked quite unique. It looked good. If you looked at the pictures that they posted, it looked like a really, really cool experience, like one of those ice events where everything's made of ice and you get to walk around and see all the colors and the pretty imagery. And that's what it looked like, and that's what I imagine all the parents and kids were hoping would be there once they got there. The reality was anything but. The reality is so bad. If you look at the picture, it's not even whimsical or magical. It's in this really weird, secluded warehouse, and it's just so sad. It is more gray than any other color. Gray is the primary color that you see. It looks like something that would be put together by like an elementary school. Not great. And I think the elementary school could probably do it better. So that's strike one with it. And by golly, it just gets so much worse. The acting and everything, because they had like live actors in there. And if you look at, there's this really, really well-known image related to this event now. It's this Oompa Loompa who looks like they have no soul. The soul has just been just sucked out of their body. And apparently that thing is supposed to be like a Willy Wonka tasting station. It looks like a meth lab, and that's what the entire area looks like. This looks like something the cartel would use. Okay, so creepy location, unhappy actors and actresses, really batting 1,000 right now. But it just gets worse because apparently whoever put together this entire thing thought it best that it's time that they altered the story of Willy Wonka, you know, the classic. It was time for it to be changed. And they thought the best way to do that was to implement a villain called the Unknown, which is just, if you look at the thing, it is the most terrifying thing I have seen in my life. Not screaming whimsical or magical. I don't even know why it's there. I don't even know what the role is with that thing. But that thing looks scary to me, and it was terrifying for the children because apparently once this thing popped up, once the actor popped up, the kids began to cry. And they cried, and they cried. The only thing that was salty in that warehouse was not salty caramel chocolate, it was the salt from the children's tears. It was so bad. I really can't fathom what it must be like to be a parent. All these images that you were shown, this really whimsical place, you show up, it's a warehouse, really unhappy actors, actresses, and now your child is crying. Not great. Not great at all. And you might be thinking, how could it get any worse? This is the worst event I've heard. There's no way that it can be topped. Oh, but these guys just managed to do it. Because at the very end of the event, you know, after this entire experience, after everything, what do the children get besides trauma? They got a jelly bean and like a quarter cup of lemonade. That is what they got. And I'm not talking a bag of jelly beans either. One single jelly bean and not even a full cup of lemonade. That's what your $40 got you. And that's, woo! I would be furious. Oh, and believe me, the parents were in fact furious because police eventually had to be called as the parents started demanding refunds. 850, by the way. There were 850 people who bought tickets to this thing. So doing the math real quick, I'm not going to do it in my head because I'm not that smart. Crunching the numbers. $34,000. That is nuts. And it's crazy because it looks like $10 were spent at this thing. The best comparison that I have for this thing, and it's shockingly eerie how similar it is. It reminds me of the SpongeBob episode where Mr. Krabs has that, I think it's called like Krabby Land. All the kids are really excited for it, and then when they finally show up, it's just this run-down playground thing. It's nothing special, and the kids are just left disappointed. That's exactly what happened here. It happened in real life. Who would have thought? This whole thing was organized by a man named Billy Cow, doesn't matter. I think pronouncing his last name is the least of our worries. The director of House of Illuminati. So we should have really expected this. That was the first red flag before this thing was even conceived. This thing was built by a company called House of Illuminati. Oops. Not good. Oh, but the ball just keeps on rolling because after this entire disaster came out, some of the actors came out, including the actor that played Willy Wonka. And essentially what he said in his TikTok is that he was given a 15-page monologue to remember. And most of it, to his own admission, he thought that a lot of it sounded AI generated. And that's kind of the main problem that people are having. This entire event, people are beginning to suspect, was done entirely using AI technology. From the script to the posters to the everything. People are beginning to think that this entire thing was done using AI, so none of it was real. I'm at a loss for words, because bad events happen. They just do. Things fall through, you can't get everything organized, it happens. But this thing, from start to finish, nothing was real, nothing was prepared, and it looked nothing like what was given. And it all came to a head when police were called. That is terrible. $40, what did it get you? Trauma, a jelly bean, and lemonade. This is going to be sticking with some of those kids for a long while. The only benefit of this thing, if you can even call it that, is that you can say that I was there. I was there during the Willy Wonka experience. And that's really it. By the way, back to the promotion and everything, there is this one image that, again, kind of gives credence to it being AI generated. It's this thing right here. Catagating live performances, carchitons, exarcerate lollipops, a passadize of sweet teats. So, yeah, people are thinking that was AI generated too, or badly Google translated, but even then, Google Translate doesn't do spelling errors, and how they managed to misspell almost every single word. The only thing that was done right is performances, I think. Wait a minute. Nope. Performances has 2 R's. Everything about this thing is bad. Oh my god. I think it's fair to say at this point, beyond a shadow of a doubt, this thing will now go down in history as the worst event ever conceived. It's so bad that my computer's getting a virus. And the apology too was really, really bad because the guy who ran the entire thing, he mentioned how shocked he was that it turned out so bad. How could you even remotely be shocked? You were there when this entire thing was done, and it was not done good. It's just so bad. Bad. I would take 1,000 conventions with 1,000, like 10 feet, not even 5 feet ball pits. I'll take 1,000 of those, just so I can avoid this. This place is supposed to bring joy, it didn't. I got sad just looking at it. I felt like a Dementor was sucking the joy out of my face hole. It's just horribly done, and I hope that this company never does anything again. Or they do something so big. They need to do like a really, really big event to get their name back out there. Like Project X level of big. Maybe not Project X, maybe more kid-friendly, but something that big. And if they can do that, well, maybe they can get their company name back. But I doubt it, because if this is the best they have to show, then they're screwed. They're so screwed. But that's it for me today. Thank you so much for watching, if indeed you still are. My name is Brockster, and I bid you all adieu. Come with me.